Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to a world of laughter, learning, and entertainment. Welcome to our video on Here Comes the Groom 1951 film. We're thrilled to have you here. Here Comes the Groom is a 1951 American musical romantic comedy film produced and directed by Frank Capra and starring Bing Crosby and Jane Wyman. Based on a story by Robert Riskin and Liam O'Brien, the film is about a foreign correspondent who has 5 days to win back his former fiancée, or he'll lose the orphans he adopted. Filmed from late November 1950 to January 29, 1951, the film was released in the United States by Paramount Pictures on September 20, 1951. Let's zoom in on plot and understand its implications. Newspaper reporter Pete Bing Crosby works in a Paris orphanage. His charming way with children and music enables him to find homes for even the most troubled kids. One afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Godfrey Allen Reed and Minna Gombell, an American couple, come to the orphanage to adopt Bobby, a boy they saw in one of the ads Pete ran in his newspaper. Bobby misbehaves, but when Pete discovers that Mr. Godfrey plays for the Boston Symphony Orchestra, he quickly produces a young blind opera wonderkind, Teresa Anna Maria Alberghetti, who sings her way into the Godfreys' hearts. Later that night, Pete dreams that the fiancée she left behind in America, Emily Jane Wyman, has visited. She appears in a hologram atop his record player, scolding him for leaving her at the altar and talks about the children they might have had. Filled with regret, Pete arranges to adopt both Bobby and his little sister Susie and bring them to Boston, where he'll marry Emily. American authorities inform him that he must marry within 5 days or the adoption will be void. After delays in obtaining the children's birth certificates, they and Pete finally fly to Boston and go to Emily's house. While she bonds with Bobby and Susie, Pete discovers that Emily is engaged to an aristocratic man, Wilbur Stanley, whose office she works in. She had gotten tired of waiting for Pete's arrival home. The kids stay with her loud parent, drunken father James Barton, a fisherman, and disapproving mother Connie Gilchrist. Pete tries everything to win Emily back. She helped him secure a lease on a new house via her fiancé company. However, when Pete and the children arrive at the house in the rain, they discover that another couple, the McGonigalls, also have a lease for the property. Emily's fiancé Wilbur shows up to settle the matter. Wilbur offers Pete a ride to another house, but Pete talks him into letting them stay at the Stanley family's gatehouse. They agree to a friendly competition for Emily's heart during the few days leading up to the wedding. Pete and the children settle into the Stanley's lavish gatehouse, where Emily's parents are also staying. Emily meets Wilbur's amiable elderly relatives, who present her with $500,000 as a wedding gift. Her parents embarrass her by running screaming through the garden. Emma discovers Pete's presence and visits the gatehouse to have it out with him. After she pulls Susie's loose tooth, Pete pretends to be in love with Winifred, Wilbur's fourth cousin twice removed, and laughs when Emily pratfalls on her huge party dress. Pete reveals his plan to Winifred Stanley. He discovers that she has long been in love with her cousin Wilbur, but feels too socially awkward to pursue him. In a bit of Pygmalion, Pete teaches Winifred to feel comfortable with herself. Winifred's newfound confidence bubbles over at the wedding rehearsal. She and Emily erupt in a brawl on the front lawn. Winifred concedes the fight, and Emily declares that she's proud to be a fisherman's daughter. The wedding day arrives. News reporters line the outdoor chapel, proclaiming this the Cinderella story of the decade. As he escorts Emma down the aisle, Pa Jones tells her that Pete kidnapped the children and ran so they wouldn't be sent back to France. Emily begins to have second thoughts. Pete shows up at precisely the wrong moment, handcuffed to a policeman, with both crying kids in tow. Although Wilbur offers to marry Emma and adopt the children, Bobby and Susie cling sobbing to Pete. On national television, Wilbur abandons his own wedding and forces a reluctant Emma and a protesting but secretly thrilled Pete to marry. Pete, Emily, Bobby, Susie, Ma and Pa Jones all ride off for their honeymoon together. Get ready for a thought-provoking discussion as we delve into cast and its impact on our understanding. Bing Crosby as Pete Garvey, a musician and foreign correspondent. Jane Wyman as Emmerdale Jones, Pete's ex-fiancé who's engaged to Wilbur Stanley. James Barton as William Jones, Emmerdale's funny alcoholic father. Connie Gilchrist as Ma Jones, Emmerdale's loud mother. Walter Catlett and Ellen Corby as the McGonagals. Robert Keith as George Degnan, a newspaper man. Alan Reed as Walter Godfrey. Minette Dombell as Mrs. Godfrey. Frank Capra as Wilbur Stanley. Alexis Smith as Winifred Stanley, Wilbur's cousin and Emmerdale's maid of honor. H.B. Warner as Uncle Elihu. Ian Wolfe as Uncle Adam. Nicholas Joy as Uncle Prentice. Mabel Turner as Aunt Abby. Adeline DeWalt Reynolds as Aunt Amy. Jock Jensel as Bobby. Beverly Washburn as Susie. Anna Maria Alberghetti as Teresa. Louis Armstrong as himself. Cass Daly as herself. Phil Harris as himself. Dorothy Lamour as herself. Frank Haney as passenger on airplane uncredited. J. Farrell McDonald as husband on airplane uncredited. As we venture forward, let's take a closer look at reception and its impact on our understanding. Bing Crosby arranged for the world premiere of the film to be held in Elko, Nevada, on July 30, 1951, and the charitable events associated with it raised $10,000 for the hospital building fund. The New York premiere took place at the Astor Theater on September 20, 1951. Bosley Crowther of the New York Times commented. Variety reviewed the film at a trade show and said, "Get ready for an exciting exploration as we unravel the mysteries of awards and nominations." The film is recognized by American Film Institute in these lists of his 100 years, 100 songs. In the Cool of the Evening nominated. In this part of the video, we'll be delving deeper into soundtrack and analyzing its key components. Coronome sung by Anna Maria Alberghetti. Your Own Little House. Jay Livingston. Ray Evans, sung by Bing Crosby. In the Cool of the Evening, sung by Bing Crosby and Jane Wyman. Mr. Christopher Colombo. Jay Livingston. Ray Evans, sung by Bing Crosby. Louis Armstrong, Cass Daly, Dorothy Lamour and Phil Harris. Oh Promise Me Few Lines, sung by Bing Crosby. Bon Nuit Good Night. Jay Livingston. Ray Evans, sung by Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby recorded 4 of the songs for Decca Records. In the Cool of the Evening was in the Billboard charts for 6 weeks with a peak position of. Crosby's songs were also included in the Bing's Hollywood series. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from my channel.